Okay guys, welcome back to another one with my Polo Dune. Today we're going to be talking about 5 things I hate about my Polo Dune. Now what's quite interesting about this is I have like a folder for all the content that I want to do, and I make notes on everything. And I did the 5 things I hate and the 5 things I love at the same time when I first bought the car, like 2 or 3 months ago. Every single thing on the 5 things I hate about this car, I don't hate anymore. In fact, I love. I can't find you things that I hate about this car, so I'm just going to stick with my original plan, and I'll tell you like why it's grown on me or why I've changed my mind. This car has surprised me in ways I didn't think it would. I bought it as like a half joke, half gap car to find my next car, which is still coming. As I've said, I'm going to do a whole one talking about that and how much of a headache it's been. But considering this was just like a gap car, a temporary car, it's been one of the best cars I've ever owned, and I never thought I'd say that. But it's just been so good. So we're going to be talking about 5 things I hate. But I do not hate this car at all. I think I've done a guide on these. If you want one, get one. I think they're going up in value, believe it or not. And they're just so cool. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to be talking about number 1, the looks. I hated the way this car looks to start with. I had my GTI at the time, which was a facelift with the different lights. This is obviously a 9N. And you've also got the different rear lights. I preferred how the 9N3 had like the circle, but I'm going to be honest, I actually prefer this now. It could be because I've had it for an amount of time and it's grown on me, but I prefer this to the facelift. But when I first got this car, it was the other way around. I think especially on the Dune, the 9N just suits it 10 times better. I think it looks a bit more stupid, and obviously it is a stupid car, so it makes perfect sense. Thing number 2 that I hate, and do you know what this is actually a hate? The wipers miss this part here. It doesn't make sense at all. They do the full sweep and you get quite a good coverage, but they just miss this bit here. And they did the same thing on my GTI. I do not understand it. If we're being picky, that is actually something that I hate. Now, thing number 3 that I hate, I did again hate this when I first got the car. As I've driven it more, I've actually come to love this, and it's the steering wheel. It was just a stupid design rather than having like a 3 spoke. You've got a weird 4 spoke, and I just wasn't a fan of it. It still looks a bit funky, but I actually prefer to drive with it. It's just a lot more comfortable. And you find when it's a 3 spoke, I like to rest my hand here. It's actually having something to hold. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's just more like ergonomic, I think is the word. It just feels better. I'm still not 100% sure on the way it looks, but to actually use, I'm a fan of it. Thing number 4 that I potentially hate is the power. Now, I didn't buy this car to be like a quick car at all. I mean, it wasn't that kind of car. I knew that going into it, but it is quite slow. And if we are being picky, 5 things I hate, I would like a quicker car. Now, it will make me appreciate the car that I've got on the way a lot more, because obviously this is so slow, then that will feel like an absolute spaceship. But yes, these are quite slow. It's got a PD 75, which means 75 horsepower. It does the job. You aren't going to roll back on a hill, but yeah, it's not that fast. Another thing I hate, which is debatable, is the fact that it's a diesel. It's harder to drive, but it's actually easier to drive. So I'm going to explain it. A petrol, when you change gear, you've got to be a bit more picky with like how you do the throttle and stuff. If you've ever gone from a diesel to a petrol, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I hated it when I first got into it because it was quite like on or off kind of thing, if that makes sense. Whereas now, I don't think I could get back in a petrol very easily. It would take some practice. I actually prefer how a diesel drives, like with the torque and everything. But to start with, it was weird. And as I said, I did this list at the start of having this car, but it's completely changed now. As I said, this is genuinely one of the best cars I've ever owned. Thing number 5 that if I was being picky, I might change, but I don't think I would. The colour. It's a controversial colour. It gets a lot of looks. Sometimes looks aren't always good. I wouldn't have it any other way. I think if you're going to drive a car that's a bit daft, you may as well have it in a bright colour. It's all over the interior, all over the doors. I'm a fan of it. I get why some people don't like it. I can see both sides of it, but I wouldn't change it. And genuinely, this whole car as weird and as sad as it sounds, I wouldn't change a thing about it. So hopefully you have enjoyed. If you have, leave a like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you again. Cheers.